Happy New Year. I hope you're having a great start to your brand new year and that you've got your positivity set in and ready to take on this next year. So to get you started with this year, I wanted to bring you a very simple recipe with just a few ingredients, and we're gonna make some red lentil pasta for dinner tonight. So let's get into the recipe and let me know what you think. Ingredients. We're going to use one package of about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of thin sliced chicken breast. I've got 2 garlic cloves, fairly large ones, 1 box, which I probably won't use this whole box, of red lentil gluten-free pasta for me specifically. 26 grams of protein per serving. So good. I've got some feta cheese. I've got 1 lemon we're going to use the juice of and the zest of the lemon. We've got some chicken bone broth, avocado oil, and some baby spinach. So let's get this recipe started.
So here's how simple this recipe is. You take your thin cut chicken breast, put a little bit of black peppercorn, and we're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt as well. And this is that coconut salt that I found at Fresh Market a while back. So good. Oh, coconut lime sea salt. Excuse me, I said that wrong. But we're gonna add a little bit to the top couple of chicken breasts, and then I'm gonna scoot them around, and then we're gonna do the same thing again, mix them all up, and then we'll get them ready to put in the skillet. Now we're just gonna put our chicken to the side and take another small bowl. So we're gonna use a separate bowl than our chicken's in, add our chicken broth or your chicken bone broth, whichever one you prefer. And I've got a 1/2 cup measuring cup here, and I'm just gonna add 1.5 cups into my bowl, and then we're gonna set the chicken broth aside, and then we're gonna add our lemon. So we're gonna slice the lemon in half, which I actually did this backwards, and I realized now that was a stupid decision. So do as I say, not as I do. But go ahead and grate your lemon first and get all of the lemon peel that you need for the recipe before you cut the lemon in half, because I realized after, I was like, why did I do this? I don't know where my brain was, but I did it this way. So we're just gonna grate the lemon first, and then you're gonna squeeze your lemon. So like I said, do as I say, not as I do. Moving right along, we're gonna move that bowl out of the way so we don't need it anymore, and we're gonna take both of our garlic cloves, and I'm just busting the top of those with a knife. If you can get it off easier just with your hands, you can do that, but I find that this is the easiest way. Get the paper off and the peeling off, and then I'm gonna mince and slice both of these garlic cloves really finely, and that is gonna go in with our broth and our chicken, but we're not gonna put them in the same bowl. Just kind of mince your garlic up and then set it to the side until we're ready to use it. All right, moving along, we've got our cast iron skillet. You don't have to use that, it's just what I prefer. I've got it on medium heat with a little bit of avocado oil down in the bottom to make sure my chicken doesn't stick or burn. And we're just gonna lay that out into the skillet, and we're gonna brown the top and the bottom side. Now that that's all done, we're gonna add our garlic cloves over the top before we flip the chicken. You can add this in before you add your chicken in, but it really doesn't matter. You can do it either way. And then let it sit for about 30 seconds before you stir it around, and then you can flip your chicken, as you can see. And you can just kind of move your garlic cloves around with your chicken, just like I did there. So now we're gonna leave our chicken, let that brown. We're gonna add our pot to the stove over medium to high heat. I usually like to add it more on the high heat side. This is 3 quarts of water in a small boiling pot, and we're gonna bring that to a boil before we add our pasta. And while our pasta water is boiling, we're gonna take that bowl of lemon juice and the chicken bone broth, carefully pour that into the skillet with the chicken. Now you notice the chicken's not fully done, and that's okay because we're gonna put it in the oven. So you just want it slightly browned on either side. And now I'm just gonna sprinkle some spinach over the top. If you're worried about your spinach burning, don't add it here, just wait until it's done. You can take it out of the oven and then sprinkle it over the top. It'll wilt just fine that way. And now we're gonna add it in the oven at 350 degrees, and I put it in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven, and then it should be ready shortly.
Okay, so now that I have my chicken done, almost done, I say done, but we've got it in the oven. My oven is set on 350 degrees, so it's gonna sit in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. They are thin cut chicken breasts, so they're not gonna take as long to cook, and I also don't wanna burn the spinach. So, if you're worried about burning your spinach, then maybe don't add it until you take it out of the oven, because then you can just lay it on the top. It'll wilt just fine if you just lay it on top. You don't have to pop it in the oven. So while that's working in the oven, we're gonna do our lentil pasta. I've got 3 quarts of water in a small pot, starting to boil. And I actually just remembered I didn't put any salt in there, so I need to add that. And we'll sprinkle a little bit of salt inside just so that the pasta doesn't stick to the bottom. And I've found that I really love this salt. We actually bought it. I don't use salt very often other than just to like season very, very lightly. But this is coconut lime sea salt. We got this at Fresh Market. Really good stuff. I like it a lot. It's got crystallized coconut on the inside is what it looks like. Or not crystallized, maybe like dried coconut. I'm not really sure. But it's good stuff. So we're gonna add that in. We're gonna let it come to a boil, full rolling boil, and then I'm gonna add the pasta in, and then we have to cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's good and done. If you don't like your pasta al dente, which means kind of firm and not completely cooked through, then maybe do like 6 to 7 minutes. But we like our pasta done around here, so we're gonna do it the full 8 to 10 minutes. And then we'll be ready to go as soon as the chicken is done. Super simple meal, just a few ingredients, and I'll let you know what it looks like when it comes out of the oven.
So our water is boiling now and ready to add our pasta in. So I'm only gonna use about a half of this box. If you're cooking for more than 2 people though, I'd recommend you to use the entire box, maybe even buy 2. So I'm gonna add a half of this box in. We're gonna put it into, lost one. We're gonna break it in half so that it'll fit down in the pot. And remember, there is salt down at the bottom so that way it doesn't stick. And we're just gonna let this continue to boil for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's all cooked and ready to go. And then we'll be ready to serve. Look how delicious. Took this out of the oven right at 17 minutes and it's cooked perfectly. The spinach looks delicious. Cannot wait to dig in, y'all. This was so good. So our pasta finished, our chicken came out of the oven. Now we're gonna put everything together. So I'm just plating a little bit of the pasta on top, and I realized I got a little more than I wanted. So it took a little bit back. And I'm just gonna scoop the chicken in with a spatula, or excuse me, with some kitchen tongs. And then I'm gonna take a spoon and actually spoon out some of the juice to go on top. And if you don't prefer to have extra juice, you don't have to use this part, but I'm telling you, it was so worth it. Add a little bit of extra of that juice. You get the garlic in there, you get the lemon juice, a little bit of that chicken broth, and then we're just gonna top it with some crumbles of our feta cheese. I did have some chunkier ones, so I didn't use as much on mine, but y'all, this was so good, super fresh, and such a light dinner.